Man's got to know his
I
limitations.
figured it out without Jordan.
Amazing.
Aren't
Yeah,
you proud
but
of
you
me?
probably texted it.
No, I did not,
Not yet, that
because
was
I
next.
couldn't use the internet, because it
I
wasn't
think it's-
connected to the
My
internet.
mom took
that's
our
why.
hockey sticks, I had two brothers, she took the hockey sticks away after she had to take them to the hospital to get stitches.
Open the
Settled
meeting at
settled
10:02.
disagreements that way?
Well, you know, I was the older brother, and so we kind of
Mhm.
used the sticks for other things they weren't supposed to be used for.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was fun.
10:02.
10:02, the meeting is open. First up is public comments. We have public with us this morning. Mr. Selling, would you like to make a public comment?
Well, I just kind of getting, I don't know what I'm doing actually. Well, I know what I want to do, but
Join the club.
I was late in getting my thing into you guys. But basically what I'm looking at is, getting permission from the select board to repair a culvert on Schuster, and I'm not expecting the answer today,
No.
I'm just saying.
Because we will be next meeting talking
Yep.
about shoestrap and issues and
And so
comments and desires.
there is a culvert that's failing and, can't do much till spring comes, and we've already talked about how that may be.
Okay,
But, the culvert is the cause of the road eroding away in one spot.
okay.
And it was similar to a circumstance that was the next culvert down, me and Rusty got permission to replace, and I got a culvert, and Rusty had his excavator, and we replaced it. And I don't even know how many years ago that was, but, and that stabilized that section of road. Bottom line is, where the road is slumping now, the water's going into the culvert, there's a break, and it's going under the culvert and then going under the road, and that's what's making the area slump.
Okay, thank you for that. So I would say to stay tuned. We're gonna be having a broad conversation at our next meeting,
Mhm.
which is 2 weeks away.
And so, what are the probabilities, it times the whole thing with me as far as when the weather goes. Would, at that meeting, it be possible, if you guys agreed or whatever, to get permission slip, for lack of a better word, that me and Greg Hartman would have to sign saying that we're doing this and we understand?
I'm not sure that,
I'm just trying, I'm not
yeah,
expecting
I
this.
know. I'm not sure that we would do it at that meeting, but that will be a part of the discussion.
Mhm.
We've also had a request not to allow any repairs until there is a full game plan in place. And we're getting bits and pieces of things coming in, so we're trying to collect it and
Yeah.
have a sort of complete discussion.
Well, I was certainly glad at the town meeting, the town had a chance to voice that they would like to, all I'm trying to do is stabilize the road, not make it any different than it has been. And so that's why I'd basically just be keeping it class 6, it just that one area wouldn't wash out because the water would be going where it has for, in the culvert and out.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you for listening, you guys.
You're welcome.
for
Thanks
coming
for
in.
your interest in caring.
Yep. How you doing?
Good to see you.
Good to see you guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. Mr. Graham,
So, I'm here, I don't know if I was gonna talk at 10:15 after the
oh, I see
public
that.
thing, or
Do you, sure.
if you, there's still a public comment, I don't have any public comment other
Oh,
than what I
okay,
referred to.
sorry about that. I skipped right over that. Do you have a public comment, Rich?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I have several. First off, David, I want to thank you for the sensitive and human thoughts that you gave at the town meeting in describing really two difficult issues, the Article 12 and also the Shoestrap Road. I thought you did a good job. Thank you. I also want to thank the Select Board for their careful and precise recount yesterday. It didn't come out the way I'd hoped, but I appreciate the effort.
Well, thank
Was
you.
it still one vote?
No,
No,
it 3 votes, right. Matt got one more, I got one fewer, so
Right.
it's the way it goes.
I
But
was a counter,
yeah,
Well,
so we did pretty good, I
when-
think.
I wasn't a counter, but you can see by looking how people vote, that it can get confusing sometimes.
It's not
interesting.
always clear.
I
I
mean-
mean, these overvotes and undervotes were important to be able to, I mean, you check both candidates, you've got 0 votes.
Mhm.
Right.
Yep,
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but,
Yep.
and if, I understand that you wouldn't have been able to be in this room, you could have been in
Right.
the hall. It was a very interesting process, I've only done it one other time, and so the 3 select board members sat there.
Mhm.
The deputy or assistant moderator had the unopened box, which
Mhm.
then was untaped and opened, unsealed. The new moderator sat here, the new town clerk sat here, the old town clerk sat here, and each ballot
It's read by
was
everybody.
verified all down this row and all
Interesting.
across and over
Okay.
here, and then repackaged in its
Mhm.
original grouping of 40 ballots and put back in the box and resealed. So
And
it was,
the tallies were told
oh yes,
without
separately.
either party known by the town clerk and the moderator, and then
Mhm.
they compared their notes.
Yep,
So for a
Yep.
recount, you can't have either one of the
It's
candidates in the
'cause
room?
if it was a larger room, you could cordon off an area, but it's just like when you vote and they have that rope and you can't go in and chit chat with the
Right.
people. So that's what it was like here, and it's a small enough room that you could have someone in here.
Interesting.
And there seemed to be unanimous agreement between the 2 clerks and the 2 moderators that that was the rule.
There you go.
So-
good. So I thank you for going through the exercise. I'm fascinated by this, how does this stuff all work? And how do you do it so that it's unquestionable, this is the answer, and so,
Right.
good. Thank you
Right.
very much.
Yeah, you're
But
welcome.
there were checks that were questionable that the moderator had to decide.
I heard that,
And they
it's
all
like,
went your way.
how could that be, that it's like, there's
Well, they
like an
put a
X
check
here?
And then they make a solid
Ah,
box over them.
Okay.
You scratch it out and.
Oh,
mark the
I
other.
see,
Yeah, you have to try to determine what the
The
intention of.
intent of the
Yes,
voter,
right.
okay, good.
And so it, counting after town meeting, of course, people are tired and.
Right, exactly.
And you have an
Whenever there was a
experienced counter.
question, you would call over the moderator and he would make a decision,
Mhm.
so,
Okay,
yeah.
well,
It's easy enough to do. I've counted for a number of years, and I can tell you there's sometimes that you're going along and all of a sudden you go, wait, 2 back. What was that one?
oh, yes, good. So, thank you all for that. Last thing, as a result of the Shoestrap Road discussion, I would strongly urge the select board to think about what kinds of signs could you put at the entrance to each end of that road to say, no, really, Google is wrong. I don't know what it should say. I also don't want, I don't want a 4x8 sign at the end of the road telling, how, I don't want that ugly sign either. But it's my
want
challenge.
perfection.
I want perfection. It's simple, and I want it to go directly into the brain of the idiot that's trying to drive down the road. If you can tell who's an idiot and who's not, then that would be,
Well, we need to be
Well,
careful.
who was that guy, John Harrigan wrote, and I used to write up in the North Country News. And I asked him why he never wrote about littering, and he says, well, people who litter can't read.
yes, right.
On that note.
Doesn't help to write that.
Okay, good.
so
Thank you.
yes,
That's-
signs are, I believe, a part of that.
I bet
coming
they
discussion.
are. Thank you.
And, we are limited in our options legally. Interestingly, and I will digress just a moment, I was catching up on the paper, which I didn't get very early this morning, and there's a big discussion in there about the covered bridges up in Lyndonville
Mhm.
that people keep driving into. And it occurred to me, we had talked about doing one of those big steel beams and for our covered bridge. I think maybe as simple as a sign, stop. If you are driving back up, turn around.
Right.
Now, again, we need people to read the sign and think about it, but if you have to physically stop it, it would seem like it would give you pause to think
Mhm.
about
Yeah,
you know, here I am in my U-Haul, I'm moving, I'm tired, maybe this isn't such a good idea. It's a shortcut, but
Right, right.
you don't wanna go for a swim unintentionally. So
Exactly.
yes, we.
Okay, so that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're very welcome. Would you folks like to speak in the public session, or do you wish to wait? We will be talking later in this meeting about timelines and other issues concerning.
We would like it to be in that session
Yes.
and later,
Yes, please.
Okay,
if we can do that.
very good. And do we have anyone on?
Got
You
Hebe
had
and John
Hebe
Bigelow.
and John Bigelow and Jordan.
Okay,
Well, let's see
I
what
don't
Jordan
see
has to say.
anybody with their hand up.
does
Do you
anyone?
guys have a public comment?
Oh,
Oh, Hebe's up.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me oh, she got.
No, thank you.
Okay,
The owl seems to only be showing Dina. I don't know if that's
You're
the way
getting
it
the
is.
best of the world.
yeah, yes,
She's the prettiest among us.
I'm not touching anything, it's working, so.
Yes.
okay,
So, I was wanting to, be supportive of the next steps for Lyme Community Power, that we hoped to get on the agenda, either this meeting or next. I'm not sure if James Graham's in the room.
he is in the room,
Oh, good.
and
So
he,
that's supportive of that. The other thing is that, I was wondering if you guys were thinking about putting an RFP out soon for the townwide revaluation next year, because that's gonna be a long process.
well, thanks for the reminder. We haven't really discussed that at this stage, except that we did put some money in and we were talking about having it done in 25 instead of 26. So as they like to say in
Long process,
Washington,
though.
stay tuned.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I think we've hit 10:14. We'll give you an extra minute. James, you're up.
Yeah, so I'm here to talk about next steps with Lyme Community Power. I sent Dina a bunch of documents. The next big step is to, sign, for the select board, to sign a cost-sharing agreement and service bundle that is provided by CPCNH. These are the things that guide our relationship with CPCNH. So that they're gonna manage the whole deal. But in order to get there, we need to, sign on to this cost-sharing agreement.
Okay.
What else besides a cost sharing agreement is there?
It's like a service agreement, so I
I
have.
sent it to you guys. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and there's like, there's the instructions sheet at the top, the cost sharing agreement is quite a document. I've tried to get through it without success, so,
And I also have sent it to Joe.
okay, good.
I thought he should review it before you guys sign it.
Yes. you should.
Yeah, so just to give you an idea of the timeline, that if we were hoping to launch the program in June, which is like the next available time to launch,
Mhm.
these documents would all have to be signed by the 28th of this month.
Aha,
That's not gonna happen.
that's
But
not
that's
gonna
what
happen.
I had already like, put my expectations down along with the rest of the
What's the next
committee.
date that you can come in?
Because I was like, that would be a hard lift, for everybody. So the next time would be September. That's
So
the
it's
next-
quarterly?
Right.
And is that because that's when they go out and bid on?
No, I think that's just, that's a CPCNH, thing where they, I'm not exactly sure, but I think that's just a thing where they group all the new members to launch programs.
And what's the signature deadline for the September entry?
Good question, I don't know.
Well, March
But
to
we will
June
find
is,
that.
April, May is 2 months, so I would guess 2 months, so it would
Yeah.
be July, probably.
I would think it would be close to the, right after they do their July date.
Yeah,
If you can
I
get
will-
us
I'll find that
but
out.
we'll try not to drag our feet.
right, that's why I would just, it'd be good to get on this. It is like a big, it's a big document, it's a lot to get everybody's head around. But,
So, James, I'm happy to just read the agreement, and I'm pretty sure I can get through it.
Okay.
And get input from our town council and get their thoughts on it. Does does your committee wanna make any kind of a presentation or say anything about this, or do you want us to just do our analysis independently?
I think we can get somebody from CPCNH to come and talk about it. I think that would be one thing, like we did before where Henry came. So my hope was that we might be able to schedule or pick a couple of dates that would be possible for a representative from CPCNH to come and talk about what the next steps are, the responsibilities of the select board. I mean, it's all in the cost sharing agreement, but it might be good to have a person here putting it
Pick
in
it out.
terms that most lay people can understand. But that would be great, David, if you can go through that. Frankly, I don't know if I mentioned before, but I think you're going through the other document, help them actually tighten up some of it, so.
Wait till they get my bill.
Yeah, exactly.
Which rating are you using?
Yeah.
Select board
The
rating?
select board rating. They'll be paying you.
I don't have the exact dates in May yet on my schedule, but I would think that we're almost finished with March, so it would be April, either late April or early May, when we might be able to have that done. And that should meet any deadline that would come up perhaps in June or July.
Okay,
So if you can get us that date, we'll look at it'd be good to do it before the summer gets here and people start vacationing and the like.
Yes, and I told Joe that you guys would be meeting when I sent it to him on the April 4th and probably
Okay.
wanting to talk about it at that
Yep.
point.
Okay.
do you want a printed copy, David? I have one.
Tina sent it to me on,
Okay.
I mean, if you have an extra, sure, that'll save me printing it, but it's not a big deal.
Yeah, it's double
Or we can
sided.
give you a copy.
That's the caution agreement. I don't know if the
This is
member
a copy.
services
No, it's-
agreement
I
is
don't
included in
understand.
that or not.
Probably Jordan, 'cause I didn't give it. I'm working.
So if I looked at, some of the select board meetings coming up and talked with CPCNH about,
Possible dates.
some possible dates, does that sound good? And I can just
Sure.
keep, okay.
Yep.
So
So
we have,
April 4th would be the next one, and then it would be 14 days, would be the April 18th or whatever, just go out
Okay.
every 2 weeks.
we'll look at those
You know
and
that
see.
occasionally we change the date based on our schedules, but
Right, okay. Yeah, the only other thing to report is the PUC has, accepted the, electrical aggregation plan, so that's, been done. It's moving forward.
well, you and your team,
Excuse me.
Ms. Quinton and all, really have done yeoman's work. It's
Yeah.
a lot of
Yes, yeah, that's a lot.
technical stuff to wrap your arms around and
Right.
get moving.
Yeah, so I don't think there was anything else I had. I just wanted to make sure that you guys got the documents, that we talked about the a date when somebody can
Yeah.
come, and it would be great if David can go through it and talk with the attorney.
Yeah, that helps, because when you have the uneducated talking with the educated, it sometimes takes longer.
Right.
Which one of those am I?
Yeah.
I am the uneducated. Okay, very good, James, thank you. And congratulations
Dan.
on your perseverance.
Yeah. There definitely have been moments of like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be good. I think people are gonna save money, and it's setting us up for the future of having other sources of
Options.
power, you know, so.
Okay,
But it's still the case that if you're buying from New Hampshire Electric Cooperative or even Eversource and you have solar power stuff, you're gonna be opting out of this, right?
That's right. You're not, when we get ready to launch, letters will go out, and at that point, those people can say, I don't wanna join, you know, so, in fact, no, they will automatically not be joined if you
Right.
have a net metering situation already. Until, you know, until the situation changes where CPC&H can provide for net metering, which is definitely their intention. Yeah, this whole thing has brought out, like, you know, inconsistencies in the current setup of the, you know, utilities and the PUC and everything, so, you know, it's all working itself out.
Okay,
Yeah. All right, thank you.
okay.
thank you, Dan.
Thank you. All right, next up, minutes, March 7th draft minutes. What do we wish to do with those?
That was the problem, right? It wasn't plugged in?
Well, no, it's not the problem, because it's still not working.
I had one little change, I sent it.
I sent that out, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so subject to that, they look fine to me. I'm happy to move them.
Okay, thank you, David.
I'll second them, seeing I moved them already.
No, if you moved them already, then that's.
Well, we just,
I'll
it's
second.
Ben and then David, and all those in favor say aye.
Then
David,
And
aye.
Judy, aye, they are approved. And next up, we have we have two manifests, one in the amount of $18,582.26, and a larger one in the amount of $672,528.84, of which $650,000 of that is school. It's okay, David.
Really, it's okay.
I'll move them.
Thank you, Ben.
I'll second.
And I
Thank you,
will
David. All those in favor say aye.
tell you that I found,
David, aye.
Judy, aye.
yes,
Okay, now you tell us.
it's already been voted at your meeting at the beginning of March, but it's not signed.
It's not signed,
It
okay.
was a miss, I think.
Your pen.
Oh, sure.
Some days I remember,
Here,
some
you
days
start.
I don't.
Okay.
Nobody's saying it's not working, so it must be working.
I don't see any ayes. David?
At least the voice is working.
Okay. Okay, that is
My agenda.
that. Oaths of office for various positions.
Correct, Amundo.
What positions do we have?
Gosh, you have so many.
So,
We were right on ball this year. Okay, so the first, what is this for? The first oath of office is for Sharon Greatorex at Deputy Town Clerk.
okay,
The second one is William Malcolm at the Upper Valley Lake Sunapee Regional Planning Commission.
yeah,
And road agent Scott Bailey.
okay,
Recreation Commission member Curtis Shepherd.
okay,
And then we have one more, but we have to wait on that, cause she's not, it's an alternate for the rec committee, which is very exciting, but she's not on the checklist, so we have to wait till she
Okay,
gets on the checklist.
okay, so I will move Sharon and Bill Malcolm and Scotty and Curtis at their respective positions. And we need a second, and then we can sign
Second.
those. Thank you. Ben, all those in favor say aye.
It'd be great, yes, thank you.
Judy, aye. Thank you.
And then you have your last one, it's not really an oath of office, but it's a letter for you to sign. And what you're doing is confirming that Emily Shepherd was elected as the town clerk of Lyme on March 12th. And that you guys approve her being appointed as the town's municipal agent. And there's 2 copies there for you. One for her and one for them.
Okey-doke, we will sign. Okay.
Yes, so the cord and the camera.
Thank you, sir.
I need smaller tables.
Yeah. How about a nice round table?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Mhm.
Okay, then we have review, approve, and sign the MS 232. You know, I'm really annoyed with the state. If they could just make one number and have it for everything, it would be so much easier. Approve and sign the MS 232 appropriations voted at town meeting, and I did go through this line by line with my warrant, and it looks like all the numbers are correct.
Gosh, I hope so, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm glad you went through it though. It's nice to have, well, I will tell you, once it gets sent in, if anything's in the wrong place, the DRA is very quick to get right back to us.
Yeah,
Somebody never told me his name.
So if you guys are inclined to sign it and the numbers are right, we need it
well,
done. So-
I will move approval of the MS 232.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Ben, aye.
Well, which one seconded it?
They both did,
Okay.
okay. Give it to Ben, and Ben already approved it, David.
And I'll write the
David, aye.
positions
And
and
Judy,
let's
aye.
sign over here, please. On the right side.
Approved the MS 232. It's really interesting how they move the things around.
What do you mean, the numbers?
Yeah,
Yeah, well, see, that's because they do it all as a lump sum, and of course ours is a budget, and then all these warrant
right,
articles
and then
and
they pop 'em in,
grants, and you
yeah.
have to put them in the right place.
Okay. Then,
I lost my agenda. How do I do it?
you want,
That's okay.
I can give you mine.
No, you need it, it's okay.
Okay, we're gonna move on.
Uh,
Those guys are probably gonna wanna be, well, that's their choice. I'm going to jump, as I have been doing, and go down to discussing the plan for property cleanup at Dorchester Road and Goose Pond Road. And, thank you. This isn't really an oath, this is our discussion, but we do have the property owners here. If you'd like to start with a brief, just a couple minutes, or what you would like to see, what you would propose before we begin what we've been maybe thinking about individually, you can have the floor. Couple minutes
Yes, thank
max.
you. I do have quite a bit of actually good news. After the initial shock and just appalling nature of the outed humiliation at town meeting, the silver lining was that we received a huge amount of support from the general public, friends, neighbors. And we have secured the help of numerous people around the community, friends, neighbors, fellow citizens. We have secured a couple of local contractors have signed on to help us with the cleanup. And Ben and David, I'm sure as you noticed as you drove past this morning, we have actually secured a dumpster. It is sited at the property 116 Dorchester Road currently. And we're gonna be working in the next couple of days on filling that. might be a little bit impeded because of the weather. We've got a big snowstorm coming Friday night into Saturday. However, we're gonna try to do our best to get that one filled up and make some monumentous progress in the coming weeks, to help to alleviate and resolve this situation. So it was very heartfelt that so many people approached us and wanted to help. And I will make just a brief side note that a lot of people were very shocked and appalled, and even many of them were angry at our humiliation being outed at the town meeting. We felt that was a very, very negative thing, but as I said, some silver lining came out of it in that a bunch of people have in fact signed on to help us. We have the use of some equipment, a tractor with a bucket loader and a backhoe. As I said, the dumpster, which is already on site, and so moving forward, we're gonna be making drastic progress at this point.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And just something I wanted to add, I have been keeping lists of things that have been removed, and I did offer before to give those to you. I was going to have them all ready today, but unfortunately, they're stored on my phone, and the notes function of my phone stopped working the other day, and it's taken me this long to figure out how to get it back again. They're there, I thought I might have lost them, but I didn't.
Isn't technology great?
So, oh yeah,
Yes,
when it
yeah.
works. So, I just need to print those out, and I can give you that, plus we have pictures as
Excellent.
well.
Yeah, we're gonna try to keep
Well,
very active documentation
we
of
take a
everything.
picture every week,
That'd
or
be great.
whenever
And
we're there.
So we
Actually,
will-
we've been there more often lately than
Yeah,
weekly.
a lot more
You will
often.
get those to us on a weekly basis?
Well, what I do is I just list it for the whole month. So what I was gonna do is give you everything from back in August to, through March. And
That we
give
can
you those, and then
give you all of
we'll
that
be
and then-
caught up. And I can do that, I think by Monday.
That would be great.
Yep.
And you have, do you have a completion date in your minds?
Well, I'm shooting for the end of the summer,
Yeah.
definitely before it snows again.
Oh, well, we wanna do well in advance of obviously inclement winter weather.
Yeah.
Okay. So, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Yep.
I think I'm going to move to our discussion now. And Ben and David, I know there were comments made at town meeting that we would be addressing this. We certainly had intended to give you opportunity to clean up. We need a timeline if in fact the cleanup doesn't occur, which we all are hopeful it will, when the town would step in. And we would need some fairly good weather, September, October, I would think. So sometime, maybe August might be a drop dead date, but I would like you folks to speak about what your thoughts are.
For you?
I mean, I think that could be workable, that could be reasonable, yeah.
August 31st.
It's doable,
August 31st?
the end of August, you said. Is that right?
Yeah, September and October, that would leave us 2 months to get it done.
Yeah, and the way
Yeah, we don't
the
push it.
climate change has been recently, September and October are just as good as August.
Yeah. like-
Even November is and December.
Ben?
Yeah, you know, it would make a huge impact, it's substantial.
What I'd like to do is mostly concentrate on the Dorchester Road
Hold
property.
on, we're talking both properties.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we will work on the other one, but there's a lot more
I
of
would
the
like to
other one.
listen to Ben's comment, please.
Yeah.
No, I think there needs to be substantial visual improvements on the property.
I agree.
See, Ben, I want it done by August 31st. I don't want substantial progress, because substantial progress can mean anything.
Yeah.
And then you just drift, you know, and if we don't get this done this year, then we're back in town meeting next year having to ask for another warrant article to do it again, and I'd rather not have. I mean, I know that maybe sounds a little harsh, but I hear from Jedediah and Martha that they think they can get it done by the end of August. We should insist that it be done by the end of August, I think. It's just my hard to ask you about it.
I would have to concur, and if you wanted to start with the Dorchester Road, that's fine, but make sure there's enough time left to finish up the other one. What I would propose we do is we will have a letter drawn up that encompasses what I think we've orally agreed to here. And I am so delighted with the town meeting support for you, individuals stepping up to help financially, muscle power, organizational. I think that's terrific, and am enthused to think that this could actually happen, and that we don't have to, as a select board, step in and bring in an outside person. So,
And Di, I know I said this to you at the meeting, but I'll say it again, you know, I know there's folks that are working now to organize some sort of a fundraising effort to help you out. I will contribute to that, and I have a truck. If you need help, I'm happy to show up with my gloves on and help you move stuff,
Appreciate
so.
Yeah.
As an you know, as your neighbor, I'm happy to help you out.
Appreciate that. A couple things. First of all, David, I wanted to thank you, especially for coming up to us and approaching us at the end of the meeting. That was, you know, good show of faith, and you didn't have to do that, and that did mean a lot. And I respect you for doing that. Second of all, as a point of clarity, I wanna know, we really need to have some sort of a definitive definition of what done means. As of now, I mean, through this whole process, we've never received an appropriate definition of done or compliance, because see, we were lulled into a false sense of security a few years ago. Ben, you remember, you were a select board member at the time, I think you were just coming in at that point, and we had a monthly meeting, and we had lists and timetables and schedules, which we met, by the way, and we made tremendous progress at that point, and we were falsely led to believe that the situation was, in fact, that we were in fact in compliance.
Well, that was the Goose Pond Road.
Yeah, right, but what I'm saying is that we no longer had meetings of the select board, and everybody just kind of said, yeah, I guess, in fairness, it was sort of like a, yeah, that looks good to us, good enough kind of thing, so if we could have some sort of a definitive definition of what done means, I mean, what exactly.
Yep.
I wanna say that I completely realize that the biggest obstacle in all of this is, in fact, as Ben mentioned, visual. That people have a certain perception of things, and driving by a property, they see something they don't like, it's very much a visual thing. You know, you've got the skiway, you've got a lot of well-to-do people in town, and I think that's the number one problem, is it's a to other people, not necessarily everyone, but to other people, it might be an eyesore that needs to be addressed, of course. But that seems to me to be the number one problem, is it's an aesthetics thing.
if I can interject, and
Yes.
I appreciate you clarifying that. I believe there are also safety and health issues and fire concerns and concerns for anyone that might be a volunteer if there were to be a fire, to try and get in and to help. There are a lot of safety issues like that, and then there are some health issues where if there is machinery, or there is oil, or there might be something leaching, we can't tell because we can't see, but we can clean out a buffer zone and make it safe so that the water is safe, or we don't create some kind of situation where the brook backs up, takes out the bridge, or floods the road. I mean, you know, you can use your imagination and it can spread to all kinds of concerns, but I hear you're needing a definition of done, and I would say that that's a good idea, and also that there would be some kind of documentation happen at that point,
Yes,
when
something,
then,
yeah.
Yeah, we'd like that.
you know, that going forward, this is where it stops.
Keep it that way.
Right, right, so that we don't have a recurrence, and, let us get the first part done, which is sending you out the letter that states that we've had this meeting and what we talked about, and then we can certainly work on what we think the final objective is, and make sure that that does not get delayed, but gets to you.
Yeah, just,
Oh,
I,
and
But I would have to say that just because you don't hear, we're not standing there every week check marking what's happening, or you don't see us or hear from us, doesn't mean that it's all finished.
just a suggestion, I think it would be best if we came in near the beginning of the month at whatever select board meeting is kind of around that date, each month, so that
we'd really like to
we
try to
can
keep
keep
everybody on the
apprised
same
of
page.
ongoing progress.
Yep.
Okay.
And I think I see the calendar enough so that I can figure out which days those are.
I wonder about maybe the middle of the month.
When you write up the first thing about the understanding, you can just pick your days for the meetings for them to show up and
Okay.
list it right on the letter.
That'd be
And
good.
Yeah,
everybody
put it
will
on the
have it.
agenda or whatever you guys
Yeah.
would like to do, yeah.
We should maybe reach out to Aaron and Sean perhaps, and I don't know if there are other Lyme officials.
Mhm.
and-
Who is Aaron?
He's the
Sorry.
fire
Please.
chief.
Oh, okay.
Fire chief and the police
Yeah,
chief.
yeah,
And,
I just didn't.
Invite them to
Together.
come talk to us so that if we're formulating a sort of a written definition of what we want to, when we're done.
When we're done,
We get their
completion,
input.
what completion means, yeah.
And also probably we want to hear from Joe Driscoll because
Well,
part of this
right.
is statutory. you know,
And I was gonna
the
say,
State
in-
ordinances and the town
And
ordinances.
Well,
the
in
lawsuit.
the court document,
the
it
court
actually
document.
says exactly.
Oh,
So,
okay, I
we'll-
Yeah.
didn't see that, I'll have to go.
We'll-
look.
Oh,
that-
yes, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I was gonna ask to put through a 91A or A91, I think it's 91A, request for information, so that we could get copies of the court documents and other minutes and so on of the meeting, minutes and notes.
Yeah, I need something in writing.
Yeah, I will do that each time I come in.
Okay, yep,
Yeah, I have a couple of the relevant court documents right here that you probably have. And also, court documents are available, of course,
Yeah.
from the court.
I've tried to get them and I haven't been able to.
Yeah, it's been,
All right.
interesting. Well,
I'm surprised they didn't send them to you.
get a
once the
note
decision was
to
made.
Dina
Yeah,
Yep.
and,
So there's a form you fill out, I've seen it online.
okay. No, just shoot me an email or a little note that says that you're asking for the 91A and what you're asking for.
and usually I think we have like a week to pull that stuff together.
It all depends on what it is,
Yeah, so, if we can get it to you as soon as we can, we will. And I think, we've got our work as a board cut out for us, we need to do some drafting, we need to touch base with our attorney. But I would like personally to see almost immediately just a short letter without all the definitions and everything else, but saying what we talked
Well,
about.
can I just interject? It probably would be best if the definition was based on what the court said, so that we would be
Well,
definitely in
I understand.
alignment with their.
We're gonna
both-
do what
represent
we-
both parties.
Stop. We're gonna send you a brief letter talking about what we said today. Then we will follow up with something that is detailed, that has all those details in it. So we think you'd probably like to have it in writing quickly, and if we have to do all this other stuff, it won't be very quick, so we'll do the old 1-2 thing. And do I have concurrence with that? With David, with Ben?
Yeah.
Okay, haven't fallen asleep yet. All right, thank you.
And you should, is Aaron gonna speak with them, the fire chief?
I think we want him to speak with us, come to a meeting.
Right.
Because, you know, the thing that is strong on my mind is that, and you guys gotta think about, is how would you put a fire out if it started there? How would the fire trucks be in position to put that
My
fire?
goal is to have the driveway completely
yeah, but
clear
we're gonna work on
again.
it. Again, that kills two birds with one stone. Number one, major point of egress, obviously, but also aesthetics. The dooryard, the front yard is our primary concern, and I imagine to ease, you know, complaints and stuff on your end, that's our primary focus. we just wanna, you know, definitive definition as far as what constitutes done, so we know, you know.
No, I
We get the-
understand that, but the safety and fire concerns are, if there was a fire there and it couldn't be put out,
Yes,
the water and stuff that would be put on, all that would leach and immediately go into the brook. There may not be any environmental problem currently because it's in a static
Yeah.
condition, but if it were to be a blaze that couldn't be put out or a lot of water put on it, then you'd have a problem of environmental concern as well.
I understand, and I have given it much consideration, Ben, and that's why I say our focus, primary focus wants to be on cleaning the dooryard and making it so that problem goes away. That's our primary focus.
And probably what we ought to do is invite Aaron in here to speak to us in public about it, and then
Well,
the Smiths can come in and
just-
talk, ask
just-
questions if they want.
You know, I would
Yeah.
think that the fire department would need to drive by the building and be able to turn around back there
Mhm.
in order to have access to
Yeah.
deal with something like
So
that.
we have some work cut out for us, and I really think we can conclude this discussion at this point, but obviously it will continue.
Yeah.
And we'll get stuff detailed out. And, okay. More work for us, more work for Dina. More work for our attorney.
Thank you guys for coming in.
Thank you
and
very
talking.
much.
Thank you for hearing us and
And
giving us this time.
I'm certainly glad that the community turned out.
I am too. I gotta say, it was a,
Because I understand it'd be a monumental task for you to do it on your own,
yeah.
almost impossible.
Well,
I wouldn't go that far, but it's still
Well,
nice
it's
to
an
have
awful lot,
help
I
and
mean, with
support.
Jen having to work and all that.
Yeah, but
More
that
hands.
has been difficult and everything else, but you guys just have to understand, in my, just a closing little remark, that we're private people, we do our own things, we live a much different life from most of it. We've gone over all that previously, but I think one of the problems, I did have some help previously, but one of my problems was putting myself out there, and this was, you know, a sensitive subject for me, and I didn't really wanna put it out there like it was a town meeting, but like I say, since it did happen, and now we do have these people that are aware of the situation and wanting help, it ultimately ends up being a good thing, even though it's difficult for us to, you know, be out there like that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Yes, thank you very much.
Oh, have a good day, and stay warm and
Yes,
get ready for that.
enjoy
snow.
what's left of the sunshine.
Yes.
Okay, we have, okay, in our packet, we have thank you, James.
Thank you. Have a good day, you guys.
Bye-bye. We have a timber tax that's questionable. Dina, can you do a little explanation?
I'll do a quick
of
little
that?
synopsis. Yes,
Yeah.
the landowner called, asked about an intent to cut, was sent the forms, misunderstood the forms, thought they needed to be submitted by April 15th, and they started the cut. So the cut is already in process. Jordan called our timber guy, and he said that even, and the issue is that the taxes on this property are not paid. But what he said is, even though they're not paid, the board should sign this so that the state can issue a report of wood cut, only because the wood is already cut. So this way they can turn in their report,
Yeah.
and the timber
Rick was
tax can
very
be
thorough,
addressed.
I'm sure.
So,
Sorted.
well, I was surprised, that's why I
How
had,
much tax is owed?
there's no, property tax?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the total property tax is, but
Are they gonna use the proceeds from the timber to pay the?
I have no clue. We didn't even have a discussion about that because it just came in and then,
this?
and then when it was
Sven.
sitting, it was Kathy Jenks.
Oh.
When it was sitting on the desk, I said, oh,
Yeah.
you know, I know the taxes aren't paid on that. So,
It's,
Who did the wood cutting?
some guy from Thetford or Fairleigh or
Lyndon
something.
Knott from White River Junction, Vermont, NOTT.
And our timber guy from the state knows all that. He's read it and saw it, and, but that was his recommendation.
Ash, cordwood and fuel wood, 35 to 40 cores. So
And they can use some themselves,
Yep,
and that would be exempt, but I don't
Okay,
know, but anyway.
so-
So that's his recommendation. There's an email on the back of it with his advice to sign it, so
Rick Evans.
that's it.
He's our timber tax
Yes.
person.
I'm surprised the logger didn't, come in for the,
It's because he's from Vermont. A lot of the guys from Vermont that don't regularly do New Hampshire, because it's different over there.
to recognize the name.
Yeah, you do, yeah, see, I've never, well, I recognize the last name, just
That's
as
what
a,
I mean. I don't
right,
know
but
which one.
I don't know this person, right. And I don't know that I've ever seen him on a timber cut, so,
Cause all the jobs I work on, the logger's right there, making sure he has that intent to cut before he pulls the saw.
right, except for I will tell you that with some of the Vermont ones, it happens frequently that they don't even get that,
Maybe we should take a few more bridges out.
maybe.
Okay,
So anyways,
very good.
so that's the Scooby-Doo with that.
That's a Scooby-Doo of that. And then I believe we have a supplemental tax warrant.
And
Stuff's piling up here.
I
I know.
sent you, well, it takes
I
her a
know.
long time to sign her name, that's why she's waiting. You are going to have to push that off, either set a special meeting to address that, or to your April 4th meeting, because, excuse me, Michael Hensley had to go and give a deposition.
Okay,
And he actually went yesterday and they couldn't do it, or couldn't finish it, so then he had to go back
back
down this
today,
morning.
yeah,
So
okay.
he was very upset and apologizes
What's this
profusely.
about?
So let's put it on April 4th.
Yep.
Please. Very good. And then, what do we wanna say about reviewing town meeting? Do we,
Town meeting went pretty smooth.
it did, it actually went very well, all things considered, and,
People
A
had
long
their
meeting.
opportunity to speak
Yep.
to the difficult issues.
yep,
Yeah, there were some difficult issues this year.
yeah, there were, yep. And, so we started to tackle one of them, and the other one we will talk about at next week's meeting, which is shoe strap. And there seem to be a lot of opinions about that.
And not much you can do.
Yeah, limited options. We have, the budget passed, which was really nice. The warrant articles, for money passed, which was good. I think we're in pretty good shape. And we're building a nice, and we have a card here that I will handwrite a note to the folks that,
To Bill,
Are-
yeah.
are doing the
Yes,
fundraiser for the covered bridge. If someone wants to tell me what they want me to say.
Just sign your name and I'll take up half the space.
Just something basic like
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah,
Town wanted to express its appreciation,
Right.
that you're thinking about us and our, and the Edgeo Bridge, and
Mhm.
very grateful that you're,
Oh, I like the very grateful.
Right.
Okay, I'll tackle that over the weekend.
Speaking of tackling writing tasks, what do we wanna do about the initial letter to the Smiths? Dina, do you wanna do that, or should I do it, or?
I think between you and I, we could do it, yeah.
I think it'd be great
Yeah.
if Dina drafted it and sent it to you, and we should be able to get that out, I think, without another meeting, and I would love to see it brought next week.
Right.
And,
Okay.
we can put as much information as we feel is really, really important, and then we need to go through, talk
The key thing we're gonna be putting in that is that we expect this to be completed as
as
to
to
be-
be defined.
to be defined, yeah.
A little
as subsequently
wishy-washy.
defined by the end of
By-
August.
by the end of August.
If not, we will
Be prepared
initiate,
to, yeah.
the town will step in and do the cleanup.
Yep.
And you know what, I mean, I don't know if this is for public or not, but if we get to the end of August and there's really been a good faith effort made, and, you know, there's still a little bit of stuff to do. I mean, we can reconsider at that point, how we wanna proceed, but I just don't wanna, I mean, ultimately, in my view, the reason the property is the way it is because that's how the property owners want it. And so if we say to them, well, we want you to make some progress by the end of August, then what we're gonna get is 10% of the work done, and then they'll bring in a big list of all the things that were removed and say, look at all the progress we made, and then we'll be back at town meeting next year, having to explain why we didn't make good on our threat.
Yeah, I think that, I feel badly, but I think it was our taking action to actually get funding to do a cleanup that perhaps was
Yeah, we lit a
really
fire.
a wake-up call. And I'm so happy to see the people in this town that I've always thought this town helps its neighbors, and this is great.
Definitely.
And I think we need to, as soon as we can, decide what done is. And I think it needs to be done, I really do. Otherwise, it's the same thing that we've had for the last 5 years. It's a little bit backslide, a little bit backslide. And, you know, monthly reporting becomes bi-monthly reporting, and then it becomes not reporting. And it's just not a
Yeah,
workable
to tell you the
solution.
truth, I'm not that interested in the reporting. I don't really need to see a list of, you know, I removed
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah every month.
Right.
I don't care about that. I just want it done. I want the property in compliance with all of the applicable ordinances and laws and the court order.
Yeah.
You know, if it's helpful to them or to somebody to have a list every month, then that's fine, but if it's creating a lot of work for
it
them.
could
and
be that it's
I don't-
creating more work than is necessary, and they could use their time in better ways. That's something we should think about.
Right.
And we can let them know that they're welcome to come and join us, but they don't need to, and they don't need to
Or they're
provide
even
a list.
welcome to send in whatever list they want, but
Yeah.
you don't have to.
Yeah, I think that probably is less important, since now we're going to probably be more active on our part, seeing what they're doing on their part.
Yeah, now, it seems to me that that the town is, by giving them to the end of August,
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna propose the end of July, but, the end of August, there is a risk, and the risk is that they don't complete the job or get to a place where we're happy with the amount of work with what's been done. And then we say, okay, that's it, we're going in, and then they hire a lawyer, and the lawyer files a motion in court, and then the court says, okay, well, I'll set the hearing for November, and, you know, by the time we get
It's another year out.
clarified, we're back in town meeting again
Now,
anyways.
we can
Well, you
tie up those funds.
You could tie up some of the funds
With
by
a contract.
contracting with the person, that you got the estimate from.
Okay, and do we need to put out a bid or RF?
Well, we had somebody come, and it's not like 100 people do that, but the issue is that
Yeah, we had somebody
you
come
could
just
have,
because we
you could
wanted to.
have five different companies come look at the property right now, but in 4 months, it's gonna be different.
Yeah, okay.
So the price is gonna be different,
Yeah,
you know, if the items and
No,
certain things.
I get that
Okay,
totally makes sense,
okay,
and, and we had somebody come just to give us a ballpark figure so that we could get something on a warrant, but
Correct.
But my question is a legal one, and that is, before engaging someone to actually do this work, if that's where we end up, do we need to seek and obtain bids from?
You don't have to, no.
Okay.
And it's my understanding from Joe is that, you know, this particular person was asked and came in and gave him his estimate, but it could be totally different, so. And again, that could be the same with anybody.
All right,
okay.
because if we had to go out and get bids, then we gotta build that into our timeline, you know?
Well, you have to let people, the people have to go onto the property and really look around. And I mean, and when you get to the point where if you have to clean it up, this person is gonna have to go there
Yeah.
and be allowed on the property to
The
walk.
court order absolutely gives us a right to enter
Right,
the property.
right.
Yeah.
So back
Right,
back earlier this year, or
We were
last year, when we
denied
were
access.
asking to go on and they told us no, I hadn't looked at these documents yet, but And we respected their no, but the legal rule is
Yeah,
we have a court order that gives,
Right.
that gives us the right to go on the
Right.
property.
yep,
Now, before we exercise that right, I probably wanna have Sean there and I wanna give them
Well,
notice.
you'd
that
have
we're
to
gonna
give
do
them
it.
notice, right,
Yep.
right, right.
okay, so we're gonna work on a letter.
Yep,
And then we're gonna get a definition of what we think done is, and talk to our attorney, make sure we're in a good
Yep.
place. And yeah, I think I'm convinced, that it should be done, not partway there. And you're right, it could be that it's gonna get drawn out, but if the enthusiasm holds, it may get done.
Well, yeah, it might, there's a bunch of variables too.
Yes, there
I
are.
suspect part of what's gonna happen is Jedediah is gonna truck a bunch of the stuff that's on that property to some other piece of property, and there may be some issue. I don't know how that other jurisdiction will respond to that, and that could slow things down too.
Yep, good.
They don't have zoning.
Hmm?
They don't have zoning.
They still have state junkyard
Yeah.
laws, statutes, and
Okay, so,
are those, do you know, Ben, are those other properties as visible?
Yeah, you can drive by
it's
them.
only
see 'em.
one property.
It's only one, I heard there were three.
There's more than one.
There's more in Orford,
That's what I
Yeah.
mean.
not
one.
mine. Oh, okay,
That's
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about,
yeah.
it's number one's in Orford.
Yeah, they're visible right there.
they're on Route 10.
One's on the main drag, Route 10, and one's on, I can't remember.
They
Bridge
really
Street or
saved themselves
something.
so much trouble.
But
They
then-
bought a piece of property that,
Yes,
In the woods.
Well, that was, yes,
that was
anyways.
tried.
that's not
Right.
all
And
business,
not
but
That's a
successful.
whole nother, right.
All right, I'm gonna move us into non-public session, under personnel. Thank you,
Yes,
Mr. Bigelow.
please.
Just give me a second.
Does
Yes.
he